Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Senna updated complete guide, and as you guys can see here, before we jump into the loadout, just a brief intro. So this is basically me testing Senna in a PvP match, as you guys can see, and I actually found it really surprising how this tanky build is performing way better than the carry build. As to why, we'll get into that in the later parts of the video, but I just want to show you guys that by building this tanky build, which I'm going to go through in a minute, obviously you can see here we're the MVP 6, 0, and 16, but what I really wanted to point out here is, number one, our damage. You can see that we did more damage than Ezreal, who obviously wasn't doing too well. We did about the same amount of damage as a full AP Gragas. Right here you guys can see he has like Crown, Death Cap, etc. Not sure if that was the order he built it in. And we also did more damage than Renekton while having 20k healing. So you can see that basically this build gives you both damage as well as a lot of utility. So what exactly is this build? Well, let's hop straight into it over here. So this is basically the brand new build for Senna that I have found to be really good. Now, disclaimer, I've never actually gone to building Mole Reminder, but in theory I think this would be really good at this particular point in time. But anyway, let's go through what the build is. So basically, your first item obviously is going to be the support item. You have two choices, really. You have a choice between going Relic Shield or going for Spectral Sickle. Now, the kind of pro of going for Spectral Sickle is technically you have a chance to get more souls and you also get more damage, but Relic Shield in my opinion is way better because of a couple of reasons. Firstly, it's way more consistent in the sense that you're not forced to walk up to auto attack them, them being the enemies. Secondly, of course, another reason is that you do waste, it's not really waste, but you do have a lot less likely chance to get souls from minions. However, this is not really too big of a problem because majority of souls you get are from number one, cannon minions, which are guaranteed, so you don't want to relic the cannon minion, and number two, from simply just attacking the same enemy twice. So really you're not losing on that much souls. Of course you're losing out on some, but you're not really losing out on all that many souls, so it's really not that bad. And thirdly, of course, health kind of synergizes with the entire rest of our build because obviously we're going tanky. So for our first item, you want to go for boots. So for boots, you want to go for one of the defensive boots. You want to go for either steel caps or merc treads. Now, generally, most matches, I think that steel caps are going to be better because firstly, you're going to be in lane with an enemy ADC. Secondly, there's generally a lot of physical damage in most games. But of course, if you're into AP heavy team, merc treads are going to be better. So for the enchantment, you want to go for a team-focused enchantment. Most of the time, this is going to be Locket, because Locket gives everybody a shield, which can also combo with Senna's ultimate, and even if you don't, the huge shield is going to be great. So, aside from that, you can also, of course, go for something like a Redemption for healing, or you could also go for, not that, you could also go for the enchant? The revival enchant, the one that increases, of course, your healing effects. This is also really good, but generally most of the time I go for Locket because Locket can help myself a little bit as well by giving me the shield, whereas this one is really good for helping your team, which is of course the main point of Senna support, especially building tanky, but you know, sometimes you get caught in a pinch and you need that Locket for yourself as well. So for your first item, you go for Black Cleaver. Now Black Cleaver is really mostly for the stats. You get 350 max health, which is a ton, 40 AD, which is really good to start you off, and 20 ability haste. Of course, you also have the passives, which give you movement speed, as well as the armor shredding passive, which you can apply onto multiple people. But of course, it's really difficult to stack up the Thunder passive with Senna's like low attack speed and all. So it's really mostly for the stats. Like you get really tanky with all that health, and you also get some AD. So for your next item, you actually go for Iceborne Gauntlet. So that's 250 more max health, of course. And then we have armor, we have mana, and we have ability haste, all stats that Senna loves. Mana is really important here because Senna is not building mana immune in this particular setup. So because of that, you're really mana hungry. And of course, you get the Spellblade passive, which allows you to create that slowing area whenever you auto attack after casting a spell. And this, of course, you know, is gonna even combo with something like your boots to give you an even bigger feel because it scales off of your armor, as well as a little bit of your base AD. So anyways, the next item we're going to go for is the new Maw of Malmortius. Alright, it's not that new anymore, but you get what I mean. So basically with the Maw, you get, again, AD ability haste, you get magic resist this time, and you also get the Demon Bane magic shield. Now, in my experience, there has never been a match where I didn't have to build Maw and I could build another item, because every match, of course, has AP, because mages are really strong at the moment, so this is really good into the current meta. But if you didn't need to build more, you could instead go for a Frozen Heart. Of course, Frozen Heart here gives you even more armor, more mana, more ability haste, and of course lowers the attack speed of all the enemy champions around you. So this is of course going to be even better if you're into like a full AD team. So for the last item, you go for Maul Reminder. This one's gonna again give you that slight bit of AD, gives you an armor pen and grievous wounds at the same time. Now you might be thinking like, why not go for Chainsword? But the issue with this is it doesn't actually give you the armor penetration, which I think is really, really strong on Senna when you get to this point in the game, because you will be doing a ton of damage by this point. So for the runes, what are we going for? Well, this actually came as a surprise to me, but when you're going for the tanky Senna build, it's not obviously, I can't say that it's surprising and then obviously it doesn't make sense, but Grasp of the Undying is a lot better than Kraken Slayer, and the reason for this is obviously you can see that Grasp, number one, makes you more tanky by giving you more health. Number two, it gives you healing based on your max health. And of course you have max health here, max health here, max health here. And you're going to get really tanky. You don't have many max health after that, but you're going to get really tanky, and this is going to heal you by a lot and also increase your damage by a lot. So speaking of health, Nullifying Orb of course scales off of your health as well. Alright, it doesn't actually, but it gives you a shield. And we have Bone Plating, of course, to absorb the burst damage from combos and such, and of course Overgrowth to give you even more health, which is of course once again going to feed into the Grasp. And the pretty much best secondary rune option that I think is Giant Slayer, because Giant Slayer works really well and gives you so much extra damage against tanky targets. However, if there aren't any tanky targets on the enemy team, you do have a couple other options. Now some top senders like to take Legend Alacrity. I don't really like that personally. You can go for Brutal, which is an option that I prefer to, of course, taking Legend Alacrity. But you can also go for Mana Flow Ban or Transcendence if you prefer those. So really a lot of options for your secondary rune. For the spells, you take Flash, and most of the time you're going to be taking Heal, of course, as the support. But you can also take Exhaust in certain instances where your ADC has like Ghost and you need Exhaust for like an enemy assassin or something like that. But without further ado, let's jump straight into the video itself, or rather the gameplay itself. Okay, so now into the gameplay now. First discussion point, getting straight into the meat of it, is why do I think that Tank Senna is better than Carry Senna? Well, basically there's one main reason, which is that Carry Senna, obviously you're playing like a second ADC, so your goal as Carry Senna is damage, kills, and basically being a second ADC, which basically means that it really, number one, doesn't fit into a lot of team comps, but number two, that's gonna be like the typical Senna player that people all hate, which is basically the one that gets support but actually wants to play ADC and just plays Senna and tries to carry, which nothing wrong with that, but more often than not, your team comp is going to be trash because you've done that. Of course, there are certain team comps where you have multiple tanks already, and going for double ADC like with Senna is fine. Like for example, this particular game, I have a Rammus and a Darius to frontline. Honestly, I could have gone for the Carry Senna, but the tank Senna, basically, number one, can be used in every single team comp, so you can literally pick Senna every single match, of course unless it's banned. But aside from that, number two, not only do you do a decent amount of damage, but you also provide so much more utility simply by the fact that you are alive. So really, the main point of building Senna as a tank is not to be a tank for your team, in a sense that you don't want to be the one standing in front and absorbing the damage for your team like a Darius or the Rammus. But what you want is you don't want to be able to get one shot. So basically what happens here is if a Kha'Zix jumps on me, like there's a Kha'Zix on the enemy team, if he jumps on me, I shouldn't get 100 to 0 because I have armor and because I have health. So that's really the main goal of Tank Senna, which is you don't want to get one shot. So if you don't get one shot, what this happens is your utility increases by a lot simply because you are alive, you can heal more, you can root more, you can, maybe get off an ult, which you couldn't if you got one shot. Number two, your damage increases by a lot. Why? Because you're alive. Like with the carry build, you deal a lot more damage, of course in a short amount of time, but if you die, you're gonna do 0 damage because you're dead. Whereas with this build, you do less damage per attack, and of course your DPS is lower, but you have technically like equal or more damage, but simply due to the fact that you are alive to do the damage in the first place, if you guys get what I mean. So anyways, you guys can see the game has been pretty messy, couple of kills going down already. So here, Kha'Zix tries to jump on me, I flash over to the Jhin with the Skull Shrine, and I'm actually able to escape on 1 HP, which has got to be very tilting for the Kha'Zix, as he wasted his flash and he died for it, so that's gonna be pretty sad for him. And that was, by the way, the relic shield, because if you guys saw like how much HP I had left, if I actually went for a spectral sickle in this match, that would have been a death for me, and I would have actually just died right then and there. But because I had the relic shield, it was actually able to net me enough health to actually survive Kha'Zix and able to escape. So now that I've gone over the kind of theory as to why this is the main Senna build and the best Senna build, for multiple reasons obviously, as I mentioned, just as a summary: utility, damage, and fits every team comp. So now we can talk about the actual gameplay and what in the world is going on. So what's going on? Kha'Zix is walking straight into 3 people, getting chunked for his efforts, and the game is going pretty swimmingly, at least from our perspective. So here we're also grabbing quite a number of souls. You can see that, of course, even though we have relic shield, we don't really have to relic all that many minions. Here Karma tries to combo us, but really we just stand there and take the damage and just trade back, because she's 1v2, so she can't really kill us. I honestly don't know why she's chasing us, because here, honestly, if we could actually turn and try to kill her if she walked far enough towards us, but of course we chose not to. But yeah, so it's going pretty well for us. I'm currently 2-0-2, so I'm doing really well. So far I only have my boots, which is really good because you can see that Caitlyn is now doing so much less damage to me. I get the root onto the Caitlyn, into the Jhin root, into the Rammus ulti, into the Rammus taunt, and Caitlyn's just dead once again. This is kind of an issue with Caitlyn, which is you want to play very aggressive. Like Caitlyn Karma is such an aggressive lane, but of course with the heals from me, as well as Rammus being such a gank monster, she's pretty much getting punished for every time she's stepping up to auto attack. She's already racked up 3 deaths in 4 minutes, so really not doing too hot. So here I'm of course going to be building towards my Black Cleaver, and most of the time I complete my Black Cleaver before I actually go for my Locket. Sometimes I go for Locket before completing Black Cleaver. Kind of depends on the matchup a little bit, but yeah, that's just so you guys know. So here we're back in the lane. We have Relic Shield fully stacked up, of course, within just a couple of minutes. So does Karma. Relic Shield stacks up really quickly after they changed it a couple of patches ago. Quite a number of patches ago at this point. Here, once again, Caitlyn trying to trade aggressively. You can see that we're actually winning the trade. And we basically full combo her once again. We have so much CC and Karma has to flash away. Basically, the moment either Jhin, me, or Rammus hit some CC, everybody else's CC is gonna hit. And yeah, and now we even have a TF with the gold card, of course, so we have so much CC on our team. Anyone hits one CC, everyone else's CC is gonna hit. Like what you see here, TF gold card into Jhin root. Kha'Zix for some reason tries to steal the dragon. Now this is an incredibly stupid decision by Kha'Zix, because really dragon doesn't matter after patch 12.4 changes, because you have to get all 3 dragons to get soul, and even if you do, the soul is impactful, but it's a lot less impactful than stacking triple dragon last time. So really, it's really not that important. Going for Herald would have been so much better decision by the Kha'Zix in this scenario. So speaking of Herald, since Herald is up, as a support you want to always be roaming to the Herald to help your team secure the Herald, of course, unless you're stuck in lane. But in this scenario, we of course are able to get there. Now Darius for some reason is between 2 towers and gets killed by 3 people from the enemy team, which is not really good. But me, Rammus, and Twisted Fate are still here. Kha'Zix has been trying to sneak the Herald. I get the root down into the Rammus taunt. And actually Rammus does end up dying to the Kha'Zix. I try to randomly blind snipe the Kha'Zix. I end up nearly killing Karma instead. So both Kha'Zix and Karma stuck on 1 HP. And Karma walks a really strange way. I'm not sure why she didn't just walk back to her jungle. She decided to walk towards mid lane, and Twisted Fate just, carts her in the face for a free kill. So Herald is now still up. Darius is now on his way to Herald. Rammus is rolling his way there. In the meanwhile, Twisted Fate actually ults bot to get another kill on Caitlyn. Now, I think it's great that he got the kill, but I think probably staying here to contest Herald would have probably been a better idea in my opinion. But anyways, now we're doing a 3-man Herald. We managed to secure it before the enemy team can contest, and we're able to actually escape with it. Pretty much just scot-free, which honestly was a little bit worrying that we wouldn't. Now here, a little bit of a miscommunication happens here where Rammus hits the taunt, and I was predicting Kha'Zix's movement, so I actually launched the root to the right, and Because he got CC'd by Rammus, I'm not able to hit the root, and I have to heal Rammus to get him out of there alive with the health and the movement speed. So here basically I'm not taking the minions. I'm waiting for Twisted Fate to come in to get the minions, because don't forget that especially when you're playing this kind of tanky Senna build, you're more of a support than a carry. So really you're just alive to, number one, do damage to the enemies of course, but number two is to heal your team, shield your team, and basically just be a kind of a hybrid between an enchanter and a marksman. So really you don't want to be stealing CS from your laners unless there's no one there to collect it. Of course, don't waste the minions. You do want to take that, but if there's someone else to take the CS, you want to let them have the CS. So here we're actually doing a Herald in the bot lane, and I'm actually walking straight into the wall here like an idiot. But here we are able to crash Herald into tier 2, and looks like we're going for a third crash as well. Twisted Fate Vision shows that there's only 3 people to defend here. So our Herald can likely get another crash, which it does. So Inhibitor now, a little bit worse for wear. Darius gets the hook, but this is a really poor place to fight, because look at the Caitlyn traps and the fact that enemy team still has Inhibitor Tower, so we really don't want to fight here. We want to kind of just escape. Darius stealing some wolves on his way out. A little bit risky, but it's fine because no one actually ends up going for it. We kill the enemy Poro on the way out as well. And yeah, so now, we're going to rotate mid, and their mid tower is still standing, so we want to, of course, change that. Karma barely able to but barely able to be out of range of the root, and now we're just going to, of course, take down the tower. Now don't forget, you can just use your Q to just heal an ally. There's nothing wrong with that either. Here I get the root onto Karma into the Jhin root, and Jhin 4th shot finishes the job. So here Caitlyn is able to flash away in time before Rammus can get the taunt off, and because of that she actually escapes with her life. I managed to hit a good ulti onto her, into a root, into a auto, into a death at the hands of Jhin. Ahri is running for her life with all of her ult charges, and she got an extra one because she was able to kill Jhin, and because of that she's actually able to escape. But here Twisted Fate goes in onto the Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is able to get out of the way of my root, but we are able to finish the job on him. Ahri comes over with the charm, but nothing too big of a deal here. Here, Karma also manages to hit a huge Q on me, but you can see it doesn't really do damage because of how much health we already have. Now, we don't, of course, have any magic resist yet, but just because of how much health we have, we're super duper tanky already. And you can also see like a little bit of the grass damage. Haven't really been pointing it out, but you can also see like grass, doing a good amount of damage here. So here, next dragon is up, and obviously we're trying to stack dragons here, so we're gonna go for the next dragon. Nothing else to contest anyway, so we are able to take the dragon without contest. Of course, you can see Ahri in top and Karma in mid, so we weren't really expecting people to show up unless Kha'Zix decides to suicide for the dragon again. So here, I'm going to back and of course get some items here off of the reset. So here we get our Sheen together with another, I forgot what this called. I think it's called the Glacial Shroud or something like that. The item component, of course, for our Iceborne Gauntlet. So here a huge fight breaks out. I'm gonna hit my ulti. Actually, I would have killed the Caitlyn if TF didn't kill her first, but I use it for the shield on my entire team. So my entire team gets the shield, and looks like the fight's going well until Garen starts to pop off, and now my team is on the run. Rammus is stuck on 1 HP. I hit a really good root onto the Garen to prevent him from chasing, but Ahri hits a good charm in return to keep the chase going on. I use the locket to get the Twisted Fate out safely, and here, I'm still at full HP, so I'm, willing to scrap if that happens. Now Rammus has gotten the plant, and he's going in. So here I need to follow up, so I'm gonna have to flash this wall to follow up with the damage onto the Karma, as well as, of course, the Ahri. Able to land that Q right on the edge for the kill, and I get the shutdown as well. Now here, I kind of make a huge mistake by not blocking the ult for the Rammus, and I could have actually done it if I didn't try to root the Caitlyn. But my instinct just told me to toss that root, and I was locked in that root animation by the time I realized that I should have been just walking to block for the Rammus. And here I was kind of apologizing because that was really my bad. I could have easily saved his life, especially because I was full HP and I should have been blocking that root anyway, so kind of my bad on that one. Here we're able to pick up our fully completed Iceborne Gauntlets. You can see we're really doing quite well. In terms of gold, you can see that although we have like we don't even have the least gold on our team actually. Ramos has the least gold on our team, but you can see that we have more gold than both Caitlyn and Karma, so we're definitely doing really well when, you know, the support has more gold than the enemy ADC. So somehow Garen has only 6k gold. I'm not sure how. He hasn't been like feeding or anything, but he has like only 6k gold, which is kind of strange. But anyways, regardless here, pretty much the only objective up at the moment is actually Baron. Now I'm thinking that enemy might be on Baron because we don't actually see any of them, so I thought they might have been trying to sneak Baron. But end up they were not actually doing that. So here we're trying to get a pick onto Caitlyn. Twisted Fate goes all the way in behind enemy lines to get the pick. Honestly, I thought he was in trouble, but he was pretty much saved by the fact that Ramos chose to engage on the side, so they couldn't actually pincer him. So here I have to sidestep the Karma ulti, and here I'm trying to basically just do some damage. You can see I'm doing decent amount of damage to Karma. She actually is so scared of me that she flashes away, which is really flattering, because I really don't think she needed to be that scared of me. But here, Jhin opens the curtain call, and here we're gonna see if we can land a root on anyone. Not quite. Goes to Narnia. No one even close by. But in the meanwhile, we're just trying to focus the tower. 3 souls under the tower, but I can't really get to him. So unfortunately, we're gonna just have to back off. Here, of course, being sure to heal my teammates in the meanwhile. And also I'm going to pick up the fruit, mainly to restore my mana, in all honesty. But huge wave over here, so you always want to be where the huge waves are. Why? Because you want to grab those souls. Look at those souls, we just grabbed 4 souls right there, and we accidentally stole the cannon, so that would have been a 5th soul. But yeah, you always want to be where the big waves are at when people are taking them, so that you can, of course, you know, get your souls. And of course you scale super duper well with the souls. Another reason why Tank Senna is really good, because you get the damage from the souls as well. So here the last dragon is up, and here my team is actually sitting on 2 dragons. So this is dragon soul opportunity for us, and we'll be getting the mountain soul. And mountain soul, of course, is, you know, great considering we're playing Tank Senna. That's gonna make us even tankier. So don't mind if I do. Now here Kha'Zix kind of gets caught because he goes in onto the Twisted Fate. He really has nowhere to run unless he can flash out, which he actually did at flash, but he chose just not to use it. So here Garen's going for the Jhin. I realized that Garen's actually no threat, so I'm actually going to leave the Jhin to deal with him, and now I'm going to try to deal with the Ahri, who's the real problem. I got the root on the Ahri, and Ahri dies. Caitlyn dies as well, so pretty much on their team, really Ahri is kind of the only threat, and maybe Kha'Zix if he's able to fight isolated targets, but aside from that, really, the Caitlyn, Karma, and Garen are not really too big of problems. Caitlyn's 1 in 10, and yeah, so really those 3 aren't too big of a problem. Really, Kha'Zix and Ahri are the ones we need to look out for. So here we pick up the dragon, which gives us Mountain Dragon Soul, and we're also going to hit straight to Baron with a clean ace. This is also a free Baron, so we're going to get both objectives here, which is absolutely amazing. Of course, plopping down the controller just to double check and make sure nothing fishy is going on. Of course, Kha'Zix just respawned, so he's not really going to get here. So here with the Dragon Soul, with the Baron, you know, we're in prime position, of course, to not really end the game. But I mean, we could end the game if the enemy team makes a mistake, but we'll see. You know, we'll see what happens. Here, for some reason, Jhin decides to go for Youmuu's Ghost Play as a 4th, and I'm not sure what he's thinking here. Really strange itemization from the Jhin. But anyways, regardless, you know, we're not here to talk about Jhin, we're here to talk about Senna. So here we have an issue, which is our team all wants to just go mid lane, and you don't really want to go to side lane alone as a Senna, because, you know, you'll be forced to take minions and you won't get souls. And you also want to be there with your team to support your team, because you are the support after all. So here, once again, chain CC onto the Caitlyn. Caitlyn dies. Rammus is actually doing the side laning, so that's actually amazing. And here we've got a mid lane tower. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to actually ping my team to go to the side lane. Here now I realize there's no fight to be had here. You can see I'm trying to ping retreat to my team, and I'm trying to ping to go for bot wave. Now Rammus has pretty much had enough of side laning. He's going to counter jungle and you know, and join the team. So here I realized that there's no choice. My team is pretty much just not listening, and they're just kind of just walking around the mid lane area, which really doesn't make sense. So I'm gonna have to go to the side lane to number 1, catch the wave to prevent it from taking our tower, which is gonna give the enemy team objective bounty. Number 2, to push it as well. Of course, not surprisingly, a fight breaks out. I'm gonna launch my ult down to give my team the shield. That's pretty much all I could do, and it at first looks like the fight's going really well. Jhin picks up 2 kills, and it looks like the fight's going really well. Looks like this could be an angle to just end the game, actually. But my team starts trolling. Twisted Fate goes in, gets rooted, and gets one-shot by Kha'Zix pretty much. Darius starts tanking tower. He dies as well. And I'm not sure where Jin died, but Jin died somewhere as well. So now only Rammus is left alive. So now I realize that I'm actually tanky enough to actually just get the Rammus out. So I'm actually here to back the Rammus up. And now we actually have kill pressure on Kha'Zix and Karma. So they have to now run away. And now me and Rammus can actually make it out. Now the key thing here is Elder is spawning in 20 seconds. So this looked like a huge throw for my team. Now, I don't like Rammus taking this blue buff because I don't think it's worth the risk. But I guess now we can actually see Caitlyn, Karma, and Kha'Zix on vision, so it's actually not too big of a risk. But when he started it, we didn't have vision of them, so that was real risky. So here I complete my Maw and also get the Execution's Calling, of course, to cut healing. But the key thing here is my whole team pretty much just died before Elder, so that could have been a huge throw. So here they have an open Nexus in mid. So here what I'm doing is I'm actually pushing this wave in. And the reason for this, number one, we could use this wave to end. Number two, Twisted Fate could use this wave to backdoor if if needed. So here I'm gonna launch the ult to shield my Rammus, but I end up KSing the Caitlyn by accident. Don't mind that, I guess. So here I land the root on the Ahri again, which is the key target. Ahri pops the stasis, flashes out and ults out as well, but ults straight into the waiting arms of Darius, and pretty much we've won the game at this point. Only Kha'Zix is left alive. Whether we kill him or not, we've won anyways. And as I mentioned, look at that mid wave, ready for us to end the game with. Of course, setting up the waves before objectives, really important, thing to do, and we're able to end the game like so. So hopefully you guys can see how strong this tank Senna build really is. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual, and goodbye.